I went through my wife's room while she was out. I found several receipts in a drawer. I checked the contents and found that they were receipts for a brand name bag. They were for a men's brand. I had never received such a gift from my wife, and I had never seen her with a man's bag. I searched my wife's room and did not find any men's bags either. So, she must have given it to someone else. Was she cheating? Using the family card for a gift? That means she used my money to pay for a cheater's gift. I had no idea that my wife was such an evil woman. My name is Curtis, a 40-year-old office worker. I work at the headquarters of a well-known apparel company. I am grateful to work there, and my salary is good. I've been working hard all my life. As a result, I am currently in a high position at the company. I enjoy my job very much, and it is very rewarding. I would like to keep going until I retire. By the way, although I'm a workaholic, I actually have a family. My wife Kim and I have been married for 10 years. My only daughter, Tia, is now 10 years old, the same age as when we were married. The three of us are living happily together as a family. However, I am not completely free from worries. My problem is that my wife does not work very much. I met my wife at work. When the company I work for had a brand of clothes in a fashion magazine, I asked a model to come to the magazine and do a photo shoot. I often have a model come to my office to do a photo shoot for the magazine. My wife was working as a fashion model at the time. She was 5 years younger than me and 23 years old when we met. She was a fashion model and quite beautiful. She had an aura of radiance. She had done a lot of modeling work, mainly for fashion magazines. I think she was in a good spot in her career at the time. When I talked to her, I found out that she had a lot of interests and taste in music and entertainment. We hit it off pretty quickly. We naturally started going out for dinner. Then, we started dating. After 2 years of dating, we found out that Kim was pregnant and got married. In other words, it was a shotgun marriage. But we were a close couple, and we were looking to get married, so it was just that it came quicker than we thought. We had always had marriage in mind, so the pregnancy was just an opportunity for it. After the birth of our child, we lived happily in our own way. But then, my wife's modeling work declined dramatically. When she turned 25 and entered her late 20s, the number of job offers suddenly decreased. However, since I was working for a major company, we honestly had no trouble making ends meet. I was hoping that my wife would find something else to do. I was hoping that she would find something else she wanted to do and go on to something else. However, my wife's work kept decreasing. Even after a few years of work, and finally 0 work, she still didn't want to start something new. She didn't even do the housework. In short, she was not doing anything. Well, when I was busy, she would stay home and take care of the kids. That helped, but my wife didn't work much after that. Even after the child became an elementary school student, she was still unemployed. It's the same now. I don't know what she's doing. She's been lazing around at home all the time. I was getting busier and busier at work. I have not had time to pay attention to my wife, so it's not just her fault. I think I am also responsible for the rut my wife has been in. I have been trying my hardest. I am trying to motivate her as much as possible. I once said to her, "Hey, now that you're 35 years old, why don't you try appearing in a fashion magazine for older women?" I thought this might rekindle her enthusiasm for modeling, but my wife said, "It's such a hassle. It takes all day to do a photo shoot." "That's because it's a job." "I don't want to do that. It's too much." "I see, but you're not going to work forever?" "Isn't that fine?" "What do you mean, fine?" Even though my wife was in this mindset, I didn't once think about divorcing her. The kids are still young. My wife is a kind mother, so my daughter was very attached to her. I didn't think it was a good idea to take her mother away from my daughter for my own selfish reasons. And even though my wife is 35 years old, I still love her. She is a former model, and she is still a beautiful woman. I often come in contact with other office workers of the same age in my work. I think she is much more beautiful than the average woman. She often goes to a kickboxing gym while I'm working, and her body is in good shape. If only she could work, we would have a perfect marriage. One day, while I was thinking that, my wife came out wearing a suit in the morning. I said, "What's wrong? You're wearing a suit." "Oh, I have a job interview." "A job interview?" A friend of mine is going to introduce me to an agency. They want to see what kind of person I am.
I see. Good luck.
Well, I'm off.
I was very happy. Finally, my wife was motivated. Tia, I think your mother might be in the magazines again.
Really? I'll brag about it to my friends when she does.
I went to work that day in a good mood. I went home early to find out how my wife's interview went, but she hadn't come home. Tia, did your mom come home?
No, she wasn't here when I got home from school either.
I see. Eventually, my wife did not come home that night. It was past 2 a.m. when she finally came home. The next day was Saturday, and I had the day off, so I stayed up and waited for her. My wife was completely drunk. I don't know if she noticed me or not. She fell asleep on the couch. My wife had her phone in her hand. I knew I shouldn't have done it, but I felt a great urge to check her phone. I found myself pulling out my wife's phone, and I gently held my wife's thumb, opened the fingerprint authentication, and looked at the contents of the phone. I was shocked to find out what was on the phone. She had been communicating intimately with a man named Rick. The text read, "Dinner today was delicious. We had a nice time at the hotel afterwards, too." That was what the message from Rick said. What the hell is this? I immediately took a picture of it as evidence. Moreover, when I looked at the profile picture of Rick, I saw a familiar face. This guy was a model for a fashion magazine until a few years ago. I had seen him around work quite a bit. In fact, I had worked with him a few times, but I thought he got married and quit his modeling job. Does this mean that they are married and both having an affair? I was getting extremely angry. For now, I decided to wait and see what my wife would say tomorrow. The next morning, I found Kim asleep on the sofa. Eventually, she woke up.
Did I fall asleep on the sofa?
I thought you had a job interview last night. You came home around 2 a.m.
Interview? Oh, yeah. I had a job interview, but afterwards I met someone I knew at the office, and we went out for a drink. We hadn't seen each other in a while, so we spent a lot of time catching up.
My wife looked flustered and tried to cover it up. Who is this acquaintance? She said,
An old modeling friend. I don't think you've ever worked with him.
I see. The fact that she was hiding the fact that she was meeting Rick was suspicious. If there's something to hide, she's sure to be having an affair. And once one thing became clear, something even more suspicious was found. It was the credit card bill. I used to buy clothes for work and hobbies on my credit card. I knew what my total usually came to, but in the last few months, I have been so busy with work that I haven't had time to do much shopping, so my credit card bill should be less than usual, and yet, the bill was higher than usual. I checked and found that the situation had been continuing for the past few months. I had been too busy to check. No way, right? A suspicion came to my mind. My wife is using the money. I give my wife a family card. Basically, she spends about the same amount every month, so it would blend in, but it seems that she was spending a lot of money in secret. I am sure she is spending it on things related to the affair. My wife must have thought she could easily fool me by lying about the last job interview. After that, she continued to go out frequently on weekends, saying she was invited to have fun by an acquaintance at the office. So, she is having an affair without any hesitation. If that's the case, I had a right to look into it. While my wife was out, I went through her room. I found several receipts in a drawer. I checked the contents and found that they were receipts for men's brand bags. I had never received such a gift from my wife. I searched my wife's room and did not find any men's bags. So, she must have given it to the adulterer. She used the family card to get the gift. That means she used my money. I had no idea that my wife was such an evil woman. Even if she doesn't work, she was taking care of my family. At least, I thought she was trying to take care of our family. Then one day, she made a surprising comment.
My model friend invited me to go on a trip to Florida this coming holiday weekend. Can I go?
I said, "Oh, I see, but what about money?"
"I'll do it within my allowance. If I refuse, it might affect my future work."
"Oh, what kind of work?"
"I have a friend who might be able to get me a job, so if I stay friendly with them, I might get introduced to a good job."
I see. How could she tell such a lie with such a clear face? It was probably an adulterous trip to go elope with a man. But this was a chance for me. I had a chance for revenge. And on the day of my wife's trip, I saw her off with my daughter and a smile. It was probably the last smile I would ever show my wife. I gathered myself. I squatted down, made eye contact with my daughter, and said my thoughts. Tia, I think Dad wants to go somewhere else. I know it's a bit of a shock to hear this out of the blue, but I know it's a bit harsh, but I want you to choose whether you want to live with your father or with your mother. Was I being a little cruel? Was it a little cruel to ask a 10-year-old to make such a choice?
I'll live with you, Dad.
My daughter answered immediately. Are you sure you're okay with that? You won't be able to see Mom as much. She said,
That's okay, because you guys are having some trouble, right? Besides, Mom has been hanging out with a guy I don't even know.
What? What do you mean?
Sometimes when I come home from school, a guy I don't know hangs out with her.
What? She's been bringing that man into this house?
She said he was someone she worked with, but when I came into the house, he would leave right away. I didn't know him well.
That's disgusting. Was he trying to deceive my daughter like that? I was completely livid. At first, I was going to just freeze the credit card in time for the trip, but now my plans changed. I'll make it something they regretted. I knew the wife of the adulterer. I used to visit her home with some business associates. It was a pretty nice house. They probably hadn't moved out. I checked Rick's and his wife's Facebook to be sure. Yep, from the recent photos of their home, they live in the same house. I called my parents and siblings and explained the situation. They all came right away and helped me pack up my wife's stuff. And with the evidence of the affair and a letter with a message to her husband, I sent my wife's belongings to the house where the adulterer lived. I then deactivated the family card, and we packed up our stuff and moved out. I said, Tia, now that Mom's credit card has been cancelled, let's move.
Yeah, I guess so.
For the time being, I decided to go back to my parents' house and stay there temporarily. It was a great experience for me to go back to my parents' house. Me and my daughter were able to eat my mother's home-cooked food after a long time. My siblings also stopped by my parents' house and enjoyed a family get-together for the first time in a while. My father enjoyed a family get-together for the first time in a long while. He was especially happy to see his grandchild, Tia. Then, in the evening, I received a phone call from my wife. Hello?
Oh, Curtis, I'm sorry, it's urgent. Could you transfer some money to my account?
Why?
Well, I'm a little short.
You said you'd only do it out of your allowance.
I did, but please, I'll pay you back later.
How are you supposed to pay me back when you're not even working?
Well, this is a part of the process of getting one, please. If I'm the only one leaving here, there will be no more job offers.
Oh, really? Then where's this office?
What?
I get it. You're about to get a job. Can you at least tell me the name of the agency and the name of the model you're working with?
Well, not really.
Why not?
I forgot. I mean, what are you going to do with it anyway?
I'll call the office and tell them to hurry up.
Oh, come on. Don't be like that. It's embarrassing.
Why don't you stop lying to me already? It's a guy you're traveling with, isn't it?
What are you talking about?
Rick Sanders. He used to be a model and used to work with you a lot. He's married now, though. My wife was upset. Her voice inarticulate. She said,
Don't start saying crazy things, please.
Then who did you give those brand name gifts to? You gave them to him using the family card, didn't you?
What are you talking about?
Well, it'll become clear sooner or later. I've suspended the family card for now. I don't know if it's the hotel bill or the restaurant bill that you guys can't pay, but you're on your own. Please sign the divorce papers when you get home. Bye now.
What? What? Divorce?
I hung up the phone and turned off my phone. Now, my wife can't contact me anymore today. I hoped she would run into a bit of trouble getting back. A few days later, my wife came to my parents' house with a tired face. She said,
Oh, Curtis, I'm sorry. So please forgive me.
Saying this, my wife got down on her knees. I can't do it. I already said I would divorce. I can't stay married to someone who cheated and betrayed our family. She said,
Oh, no. I'll be in trouble this way.
According to my wife's story, when I sent her belongings to Rick's house, his wife found out about the affair. After the trip, he came to my wife's house. Apparently, he is in trouble because his wife is demanding alimony. I said, "That's none of my business. I'm also going to charge you and this guy, Rick, alimony, so be prepared. Oh, and you're going to have to pay child support, too."
Please, Curtis.
I'm sure you got rid of the divorce papers I left at home anyway. I have copies here as well.
What?
My family surrounded us. My wife could not escape and had no choice but to sign the divorce papers. After that, the divorce was successfully finalized. My ex-wife and her adulterous partner were charged alimony. My ex-wife is now working at a bar to pay alimony and child support. I wondered what she was doing. One of my junior staff members went to the club as a reconnaissance. I was made to hear that my ex-wife was being told off by the other hostesses, who were years younger than her, that they were all making fun of her.
Kim, Miss Kim, hurry up and bring us some alcohol, please.
She was having trouble daily. It was honestly satisfying to hear. On the other hand, I rented an apartment near my office. I now live here happily with my daughter. I tell my daughter that she should take my ex-wife as an example. I will take good care of her so that she won't be fooled by a man who only has a pretty face. Thank you for watching until the end. How did you like today's story? Please subscribe to our channel. We hope to see you soon.